on the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast, brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy, proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Big Ten Conference. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Shields, we're right there with you in Des Moines, Sioux City, Iowa City, and Cedar Falls. University of Iowa Healthcare. Changing medicine, changing lives. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
The Iowa rowing team is in Sarasota, Florida this weekend for the annual Big Ten Invitational. Head coach Jeff Garbutt and his team of navigators will face some of the top teams in the country, including all of the Big Ten programs. The Hawks are loaded with talent, though, and plenty of depth, and can't wait to show it off. The who and the what of the Iowa rowers is this week's focus on the Fight for Iowa podcast, sponsored by Iowa Corn, UIHC, Shields, and Athletico. I'll be right back.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bowes, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Are aches, pains, or injuries keeping you on the sidelines? At Athletico, our movement experts are here to help you turn your setbacks into comebacks and create a personalized game plan for your recovery. With no prescription or referral needed, Athletico Physical Therapy is where your comeback story begins. Get started today by scheduling a free assessment at athletico.com. Proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
To anyone passing through our state, fields and fields of corn might be what they see. But the people who call Iowa home know it's so much more. Corn is ethanol, a homegrown, renewable fuel. Corn is delicious pork, beef, poultry, and dairy. Corn is in 4,000 products we rely on every day. So yeah, our highway views are full of corn, and we're proud of it. Because corn grows Iowa. Show your support for Iowa corn farmers at iowacorn.org/fan of corn.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
The Hawkeye Varsity 8 was named Big Ten Boat of the Week after racing past Kansas, Kansas State, and Minnesota at the Big Ten Big 12 Double Duel in Kansas. It's the 18th time in school history a boat has grabbed the weekly honor for the Hawkeyes. Coach Jeff Garbutt is in his fourth year leading the program. The roster is loaded with former multiple-sport Iowa high school star athletes, including Dawn Klosterman from Davenport Assumption, one of three returning all Big Ten performers. Garbutt feels the Kansas meet was a really good Midwest challenge, and the Hawkeyes passed the test, setting the tone for the rest of the spring schedule.
Race experience is so valuable for our athletes, having so many kids on the roster that never raced in the sport of rowing before they got to Iowa. So they performed really well. I think it really showed the depth of the team and just a little bit about their grit and determination on how they can handle some challenging situations. They're a little bit of a mix of, I'll say, young, well, maybe not young and old, but it's a good group in there. We have a couple of our seniors. We have two of our super seniors who are back for their COVID year in Haley Mercury and Taryn Lindemann. And then we have some juniors in there with, Molly Jo Shannon and Orla Cuff, and then and Natalie as well. And then we have a couple of traditional seniors in there with Emma Dabnett and Claire Rege, and Kari Evans is in there, who's only a sophomore, right? So a really good mix of some older and newer kids. And Natalie, she kind of the coxswain, she keeps it all together.
Coach, you ran a 6:59.7, which was As I'm looking at the times here, this was against Kansas, full 6-7 seconds ahead of Kansas. That's spectacular. What's the combination? What's the key component there in putting up a good time and a solid victory like that?
Yeah, so the conditions in Kansas, if you know, you don't have to use your imagination, but we're quite windy. And it was a headwind, which slowed us down quite a bit. Our goal for the year is actually to go closer to 6 minutes and 20 seconds. And we've had some races down in Florida where we've been in the low 6:30s, and we've done some good practice times here in Iowa City. So in a race like that with the headwind, you try to bring your stroke rate down, your cadence down a little bit, and try to row a little bit longer. We made a couple changes to our lineup actually right before the race. I switched some people around, and the girls really responded well there, and we're able to handle that challenge.
That's great insight, understanding just how rowing operates. Talk about strength and conditioning being a key component to all sports, but especially rowing, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, I'll give a shout out to Cody Roberts, our coach. I've said it before, he's the best in the business. He doesn't give you like a cookie cutter kind of program to follow. He sits down, he listens to, maybe the crazy ideas that I might have as to what we want to do and what I want our athletes to be able to do. And he tailor makes it to what we're trying to do. He's helped us. We do things a little bit different in Iowa with our strength and conditioning. We do a lot more running than a lot of rowing teams do, believe it or not. And he does a lot of really total body, full range of motion movements when we're in the weight room. So to watch him, maybe one of these Monday, Wednesday, or Friday mornings, you and I can go down to gym, get a workout with the girls. Just let me know.
As long as you wait for me.
All right.
On the reps. Speaking of great in the weight room, your senior Abby Klosterman, she was named all district this past year for the women's at-large team, and she was a catalyst for 17 victories. That's a tremendous year, and it looks like it's propelled you nicely into 2024. Talk about Abby and who behind her are you counting on a lot this season?
Yeah. Abby, as we call her, we all call her Dawn by her middle name, believe it or not, because I think we might have like 6 Abbies on our team. So we try to differentiate a little bit. So she's known by Dawn. But
all right.
She's a great story. She was a soccer player and swimmer when she was, I believe it was Assumption High School over in
Davenport,
right?
Yes.
And, great high school athlete, but she's kind of what I would say is the prototypical Iowa walk-on athlete. She loves to work hard. She is intense in everything she does when it comes to her fitness and her strength conditioning, rowing on the machine, and just her desire to get better at the sport itself. So we're really fortunate to have her because, she's to me the example of what we want our walk-ons to be. And we have examples in all the classes as they're starting to come through, but she's someone who has served the program really well in her 4 years. And I'm really lucky to be able to work with her every day.
Good stuff. Well, it's all hands on deck this weekend. Coach Garbutt and the rowers head to beautiful Florida, Sarasota to be exact, for the Big Ten Invitational. You'll be competing Friday at Nathan Benderson Park. Tell us about the layout. Tell us about this meet.
Yeah. So Nathan Benderson Park is a world-class rowing facility. It's the best rowing facility in America. It was designed by a developer down there to try to bring business to the area. And all around the lake now are hotels and a shopping mall and restaurants and everything else because he built kind of Field of Dreams-ish, right? He built this rowing course and it became so well known that the area now is booming with it. And it's 8 lanes across. It has all computerized timing system and camera system. It'll be live streamed this weekend. So if people go on to iowarowing.com, they can see our release and follow along and actually watch the races live Friday and Saturday. And the Big Ten invite is we have the 8 Big Ten rowing schools, and then we've invited another 10 schools to come and be a part of it. What we're trying to do is we do it a little bit later in April where everyone's been able to get out on the water a little bit and in the Big Ten. And we try to do it to highlight the strength of the Big Ten Conference, which I will go on record as saying is the most competitive conference from top to bottom in all of collegiate rowing. So this is our chance to go against, we have some Ivy League schools. We have a Pac-12 school, soon to be Big Ten school, UCLA coming. We'll have some ACC schools there. And I think I said Ivy Leagues as well with Brown University. So a really great cross section of the country when it comes to top rowing schools. And it's going to be a really good test for all Big Ten teams. And we're pretty fired up to get down there and see what we can do.
Yeah, an incredible field, and Iowa is part of that masterful group of rowers. And Jeff, as you're aware of, Iowa's had a strong rowing program for a lot of years, going back to the beginning. Phenomenal facilities on the Iowa River. I was reading some of the quotes of your kids or young women, and I love this one by J.C. Hall. I am absolutely pumped for this weekend. As a crew, we're becoming stronger and stronger every session together. Our team as a whole has been putting in work day in and day out, and we are ready to see all this hard work pay off. Go Hawks. You got to love that kind of enthusiasm. Absolutely.
I think, look, our greatest strength are the young women, who come from the plains of Iowa, right? To quote Niall Kinnick, these young women come here, they roll their sleeves up, they work hard, whatever crazy workout we throw at them, they just grin and they do it, and they give you your best effort. So I think that's our biggest strength, is that we have these homegrown Hawkeyes, and JC is a wonderful example of that. Former soccer player from Mount Ankeny, came all the way, out here not knowing how to row, learned how to row, and actually, she's now, turned her experience in rowing into a really successful business for herself. And just a great, and again, another great example. You could go down the roster, and I mean, we're littered with kids that, like, if you say the name, like, I have nothing but great things to say about them. So really super lucky to have this group of kids.
Coach Garbutt asks Hawk fans to jam the bridges over the Iowa River on Saturday, May 4th, when Iowa hosts the Drake Bulldogs in a 2-race exhibition duel from 8 until 10 a.m. The Big Ten Championships are May 18th and 19th in Devils Lake, Wisconsin. I'm Gary Dolphin. That's this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and go Hawks.
You've been listening to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeye Women Rise podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game content, and more. Until next time, on Iowa, and go Hawks! The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.